Genesis, get low now. You ain't scared of dog. What? It's a new Genesis. Oh, you training?
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? First things first, congratulations to Erislandy Lara. Congratulations to Arthur Beterbiev for putting on a terrific performance. Shouts out to Al Haymon. He is doing a great job of bringing boxing back to the mainstream. I believe the Keith Thurman versus Guerrero fight peaked at 4 million views, but it averaged over 3 million views. That is unbelievable ratings for a boxing program, okay? And next week we have arguably the second biggest fight of the year, Broner versus Porter, a fight that definitely would have been on a paid subscription channel if it wasn't for Al Haymon. But now we get to sit down, relax, and watch this fight on free TV like we're watching the playoffs or the finals or whatever the case may be. Usually you have boxers suing their promoters and managers and so on and so forth, trying to do everything they can do to get out of a contract. When it comes to Al Haymon, it's the contrary. Fighters are doing everything they can do to get into a contract with Al Haymon. So the professional boxers are happy. The media is happy because Al Haymon is putting on so many cards that provides additional job security, right? And last but not least, the boxing fans, at least the majority of boxing fans, are happy. Now, obviously, I'm not including the racist fans because their opinion doesn't matter. I mean, you can ask a racist fan, what is it you want Al Haymon to do to make you happy? And I can guarantee you, the average racist person, he won't know how to respond to that question. And if he does respond to it, he'll say, okay, I want Al Haymon to do this. I want him to do that. And then Al Haymon will end up doing it, and that racist person will still hate. Why? Because you're not supposed to like anything that Al Haymon is doing. That's part of the code when it comes to being racist, right? So anyway, let's move on and let's talk about the actual fight. Just real briefly, Arthur Beterbiev, who just also signed with Al Haymon, and he looked pretty happy and he looked pretty good in the damn fight. So let's go ahead and talk about Erislandy Lara. Flawless, dominant performance. Landed over 60% of his punches against Delvin Rodriguez. The only thing he didn't do is knock out Delvin Rodriguez. Let's just say he won the game with more jump shots and three-pointers than slam dunks. Now let's go ahead and just fast forward and talk about the future when it comes to Erislandy Lara. Now we already know Erislandy Lara, at the end of this fight, he called out Cotto, Mayweather, and Gennady Golovkin. Now we already know he's not going to get the Cotto fight because Cotto is fighting against Canelo, right? We know he's not going to get a Mayweather fight because Mayweather is going to fight some guy with a bigger name. That leaves us with one person left, Gennady Golovkin. Now we know when it comes to Golovkin, unlike Miguel Cotto, he doesn't already have an opponent lined up. Unlike Floyd Mayweather, Golovkin doesn't care if his opponent is a big name or a small name because we just seen him fight Willie Monroe. Before that, we seen him fight Marco Antonio Rubio. He's fought Adama, right? The point that I'm making is, if Golovkin is willing to fight a relatively unknown Adama, a Willie Monroe, why wouldn't he fight Erislandy Lara, who's headlining on PBC, who's already fought in a pay-per-view card, helped Canelo generate his biggest numbers on pay-per-view, right? Erislandy Lara made $1 million in the Canelo Alvarez fight. What excuse does Golovkin have not to fight Erislandy Lara if Golovkin, or I should say if Carl Froch, is not going to fight Golovkin? Because that's the fight I would really love to see. I would love to see Golovkin versus Froch. But since Carl Froch's promoter, Eddie Hearn, doesn't believe that Froch really wants that fight, and he believes Froch is leaning more towards retirement than fighting against Golovkin, that leaves Golovkin without a dance partner. And once again, who has the bigger name? Marco Antonio Rubio, Adama, Willie Monroe, or Erislandy Lara? Now, you can't even sit here and say, oh, you don't want to see the fight because you don't like his style and so on and so forth. Because the same fans that say that, they've been saying, I want to see Mayweather versus Lara for the longest, right? How is it you want to see Mayweather versus Lara, but you don't want to see Golovkin versus Lara? That doesn't make any sense. Now, don't get me wrong, I would love to see Mayweather versus Lara. But the whole thing is, I already understand, like I said before, Mayweather is looking for a fighter that can generate or help him generate the biggest pay-per-view numbers in his last fight. I truly believe, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I truly believe because of the styles, Floyd Mayweather, he would rather fight a Gennady Golovkin before he fights an Erislandy Lara. For many reasons. For one reason, because the average fan believes that Golovkin is the truth. They believe that he's the future. They love him, right? And if the average fan is in love with Golovkin, then that equals big pay-per-view numbers for Floyd Mayweather. Now, the fight may not happen because Golovkin would go in the ring probably with a 30-pound weight advantage over Floyd Mayweather the night of the fight. But I'm telling you guys right now, if Golovkin was a natural 154-pounder or even better, a 147-pounder, Floyd Mayweather would be jumping up and down for that fight against Gennady Golovkin. He would be jumping up and down to get in the ring with Golovkin, right? So you have to understand this. When it comes to Golovkin, when it comes to Canelo Alvarez, these are fighters that often get in the ring with guys that have no name at all. They're used to doing that, right? And a lot of times when they do it, the fans don't even care. Matter of fact, the fans prefer they get in the ring almost with the guy with no name and 4 knockouts like Willie Monroe. Because fans, they don't really care, honestly, who their fighter is facing. They just want to make sure that it's almost a guaranteed win for their fighter. That's all they really care about. How do you think Golovkin can fill up an arena fighting against Marco Antonio Rubio? Fill up an arena fighting against Willie Monroe? Because these fans are coming to watch him, Gennady Golovkin. So we know that if Golovkin can do numbers fighting against Willie Monroe, we know it's only common sense he'll do better numbers against an actual name, right? 2 names is bigger than 1 name when they're in the ring against each other. So once again, if Froch is out, if Mayweather is out, we already know Canelo Cotto, they're going to most likely be fighting. If they're out, who does Gennady Golovkin have next in line? Erislandy Lara. Have you guys ever asked yourself this question? How is it possible an Erislandy Lara, who's not the strongest puncher in the world, is willing to move up to a higher weight class and fight the best middleweight in the division and possibly one of the hardest punchers and one of the best fighters in the world right now. How is it possible Erislandy Lara has enough courage to do something like that, but Gennady Golovkin is not too crazy about moving up in weight and fighting the best super middleweight in the whole wide world? And pound for pound, top 3, one of the best fighters in the world. Have you guys ever asked yourself that question? Erislandy Lara is chasing Gennady Golovkin. I thought the bull was supposed to chase the matador, not the other way around, right? The matador is chasing the bull. And what's crazy is in the sport of boxing, the matador is often chasing the bull. Case in point, Guillermo Rigondeaux against Leo Santa Cruz. Who's chasing who, right? Demetrius Andrade, the champion, the best fighter at 154, chasing the challenger, Canelo Alvarez. Who's chasing who, right? And we could go back to Lara against Canelo, because that Lara versus Canelo rematch, that should be one of the fights that even Canelo wants in his future before his career is over. I mean, if Canelo really wants to be the best one day, he should even be saying to himself, you know what, before my career is over, I want that rematch with Lara, because I'm sick of hearing some people say, oh, I thought Canelo won. Oh, I thought Lara won, this and that. No, I want to make it a clear-cut win. I want to knock out Lara. I want the decision to be unanimous and undisputed when I fight him again. And once again, let me make this very clear, guys. It doesn't really matter who we think will win the fight. It doesn't matter if you think Lara has no chance at all, whatever you think, it doesn't matter. Because you still watched the Willie Monroe fight and you knew Golovkin was going to win the fight, right? So you can't sit over here and say, I don't want to watch the fight because I know Golovkin will beat him. Because that was the same case in almost all of Golovkin's fights. You knew Golovkin was going to win, and you had no problem with those fights. So why do you have a problem with this one? These are all rhetorical questions. We all know the answer, including the decafs. They understand the answers as well. But they play dumb just to cover up the truth. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and talk to the decafs for a second. The dumb, casual-ass fans, that is. Now, let's just go off of their logic for a second. Now, according to the decaf, Floyd Mayweather is the most boring fighter ever, right? He's boring. All he does is run. All he does is hold. He's extremely boring, right? Now, according to the decaf, Erislandy Lara is also a boring fighter. All he does is run. He's a boring fighter. So I ask you the obvious question. Why would you guys want to watch two boring fighters fight against each other and not want to watch your favorite fighter, Gennady Golovkin, who you would say is the most entertaining, exciting fighter, and that's what boxing is all about? Wouldn't it make more sense, using your own logic, that you would rather watch the exciting fighter go up against the quote-unquote boring fighter who just moves around the ring? Now keep in mind, guys, Golovkin's last opponent, he also moved around the ring and he got knocked out. So once again, what logically makes more sense? For Golovkin to fight Lara or for Mayweather to fight Lara? Once again, I'm only basing this off of the decaf's logic. Another question. If Floyd Mayweather is boring, all he does is hold, and he's so boring, why do you want Golovkin to fight him? But then you don't want Golovkin to fight Ward, who you guys also claims he just holds and he just does this and he just does that. According to your logic, once again, you believe Mayweather and Andre Ward are going to do the exact same things in the ring against Gennady Golovkin. So if we're using your own philosophy, then that means you should want Golovkin to fight both Ward and Mayweather, right? But you don't want him to fight against Andre Ward because we all know what time it is. Deep down, they're not going to tell you the truth, at least not out loud. They may say it with their inside voice, and that is Andre Ward would most likely beat my guy, Gennady Golovkin. Therefore, I really hope Golovkin never fights that guy, Andre Ward. Please fight guys that are 30 pounds smaller than you like Floyd Mayweather. Fight the Willie Monroes. But please don't fight Andre Ward. This is what they are saying with their inside voice. Right? You guys have to understand something. Everything that you guys hear me say, it's not a jab at Gennady Golovkin. I'm not saying anything negative about Gennady Golovkin. I am talking specifically to the decafs. Okay? Everything that I'm saying, it is directed to the decafs. Because the decafs are the ones that make all these silly excuses why they don't want their favorite fighter to fight one of the best fighters close to his division. I mean, just answer the question. Which fighter is closer to Golovkin in weight? Andre Ward or Floyd Mayweather? We already know the answer. Golovkin spars with cruiserweights. I know because I was there in camp with him. I watched him spar. Okay? And I even watched him hurt some cruiserweights. So you cannot sit here and tell me that this man is closer in weight to Floyd Mayweather than he is to Andre Ward. Golovkin is closer in weight to Erislandy Lara than he is to Floyd Mayweather, right? And let me just add something else to that holding claim. You know, Floyd likes to hold and so on and so forth. Now, you guys, once again, you say that Floyd Mayweather, he likes to hold, right? So if Floyd Mayweather is fighting against Golovkin, a guy who's going to be 20 to 30 pounds bigger than him, who do you think would hold more in the fight against Golovkin? Andre Ward or Floyd Mayweather? We already know Floyd Mayweather would be dealing with a major deficit if he was in the ring with the much bigger, stronger Gennady Golovkin as opposed to Andre Ward. So one more time I ask the question. If you have no problem with Golovkin fighting Mr. Boring Sir Hold-A-Lot, Floyd Mayweather, why would you have a problem with him fighting against Erislandy Lara or Andre Ward? Because you guys want to make sure that your fighter has all the advantages in the world. You want to be guaranteed he's going to win. You don't want there to be any chance of things going wrong. You want to make sure your guy is going to win. That is the answer. Once again, if Golovkin could fight Willie Monroe, there is no excuse for him not to fight against Erislandy Lara. Can't use the style excuse. Can't use the name is not big enough excuse. because Willie Monroe's name wasn't big. Adama's name wasn't big. Rubio's name wasn't big. Okay? If Golovkin went in the ring with Joe Blow III in his next fight, you guys will be happy because you feel that's another guaranteed win. But if there's a chance of him fighting a guy that has any chance, even if it's a 40% chance of him winning, forget about a 50% chance, even at a 40% chance of winning, you guys don't want to watch that. We know what time it is. That's all I got. I'm on to the next one.